Welcome in to the Circle audience now joining us. Circle streaming platforms. You can find them at circlecountry.com, and you can link to them when you get there as well. And maybe you prefer the app, the Circle Now app. A great thing about it, on demand for up to 24 hours. Nashville, Tennessee is our hometown, and more people across America are making it their hometown every single day. We have run out of room, people. Stop coming. Okay, you can visit. We've got overpriced hotel rooms everywhere. We'd be glad to rent you one for the night. You come visit, but you go back.
You know, it's cheaper to go to Manhattan than it is to Nashville hotel-wise.
I know.
I mean, our
really?
hotel prices are stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah, just crazy.
High.
Stupid. Exact stupid hotels.
Stupid hotel. Go downtown, though. If you're going to CMA Fest, forget about it. You're either going to get an Airbnb, you're going to, figure out a way to get around downtown, but tickets are on sale.
But at some point, you will wind up at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes.
Yes, you will. Maybe we were Kelly last night.
Yes.
You were jig jamming last night.
I love those boys. They are from Ireland. They were incredible. Bluegrass, but Irish and Americana, all the things.
They call it eyegrass, actually.
Yes.
They have a name for it.
Yeah. And they actually were wrapping up their North American tour. They were headed back to Ireland and booked it as a last-minute thing. So that's the last show they got to play before they fly back.
How about that?
Pretty cool.
Tonight, it's Opry Country Classics.
Yep.
It's the songs you love, and Larry Gatlin hosts. Gene Watson's going to be in the spotlight tonight. I saw where he was, the road trip. I don't know. I think he had Bowling Green, and maybe that was last night, but that was on his lineup. So had a couple of gigs close to home, including the Opry, where he's a member. Jim Lauderdale's going to be there.
Yep, he'll be with me Friday night, too. Gene's kind of hanging out all weekend.
Oh, good.
I love
good.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
The always affable girls we know as Sister Sadie.
Love them.
And we were just talking about the success of his coffee shop.
Grindstone Cowboy.
Thank you.
He's got 2 locations now, too.
He's a change.
Yeah, he's a...
He's a change.
I love that. And a councilman.
Still Magnolias.
So where are the 2 locations?
One is in Eagleville, and I'm not sure where the second one is. Eagleville's the original.
Yeah, I don't remember where the second one is, but they just
I'll look it up for you. Craig Campbell is his name, and he's at the Opry tonight. Of course, Larry comes with Steve and Rudy, his brothers, the Gatlin Boys.
Please introduce him as councilman.
Yes, Councilman Campbell.
I did last time he was there. Yes,
You
Councilman
like that?
Campbell. I think so.
Kinda
it's a
feels
good.
empowered.
It's a free plug for his reelection. I think.
There you go.
Yeah. So, just put it out there instead of stumping. You can just say it from the Grand Ole Opry stage. Hey, coming up, entertainment headlines. We mentioned CMA Fest. We've got the lineup for Ascend Amphitheater. So we've got Nissan Stadium happening, but then Ascend has some really killer shows. We're going to give you that coming up in just a few minutes. Plus, Morgan Wallen has a new single that he is dropping, and it's with Ernest. A little sample of that coming up as well.
And I just met Zoe. She's in the green room.
Beautiful.
She's coming to see us on Coffee, Country, and Cody. I missed her the first time she was here. I was off, but I was listening, and just what a fascinating story. And you talk about determination.
Yep.
Having a dream, determination, and perseverance. She's got it all.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
And Zoe is back.
Woohoo!
On Coffee, Country, and Cody. It's nice to meet you in person. I missed you the first time
Missed
here.
you the first time. It is so nice to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
And wherever I was traveling that morning, I was listening to your fascinating story.
Oh, boy.
And I thought to myself, if there was ever a person that embodies that thing in Nashville with artists, a dream, determination, perseverance, it is you. You actually have a song called Whatever It Takes.
I do.
Is that autobiographical based on
close
your,
to
your
it, yeah.
musical journey?
Kind of. Yeah, the story's been a bit, interesting and kind of very unique from what I hear. Other people kind of pretty blown away by it. But yeah, that's a very autobiographical song. It was definitely set out to be kind of something inspiring for people to, don't give up. It's always going to be a crazy, amazing long haul and a crazy adventure to do what it is you're passionate about. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. And so that's what that song's for.
And earlier we were talking about the massive number of people that continue to move to Nashville. And when people hear your accent, you've moved from way off from here, as we say in the South. Tasmania is your home. And I pulled up there, Discover Tasmania, the official tourism website.
Is she the poster child?
Listen
No.
to this.
You should be.
I'm probably not on.
This is their phrase. Come down for air.
You know why they say that? Because they actually they did scientific studies on the air in Tasmania, and it's the most pure air in the world.
Really?
Yeah, that apparently the water is too, but it's definitely the air. So
Well,
that's probably
we Americans can find a way to mess that up for you. You just let us come down there on vacation.
Yeah, that's right.
No, if you ever do go, it's beautiful. I highly
It's
recommend.
just
I'm not just saying that because I'm from there. It's actually
No,
really
this
stunning.
website is extraordinary.
So do you notice simple things like allergies aren't as big, or it's easier to sing because your voice is always so happy and strong? I mean, just stuff you take for granted almost.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like now, since I've moved to Nashville, I didn't realize that the whole allergy thing was, and the pollen thing was a deal
you're sick
here.
all the time now, right?
So like I always have allergy things with me all the time. It's like, this is so unusual. When did this happen? It's crazy. And in a town full of singers, like you just never would think that would be the case. But you know, the irony, right?
Well, we've got a
Of
really
course.
good Vanderbilt vocal clinic that's right over there. They'll help you.
Yeah.
I might need a contact for that later.
All of us have been there at some point. So for
That's
people
so funny.
who aren't familiar with your story, give us like the elevator pitch of how all of this came to be.
So yeah, I'm from a little island in the very southern part of Australia called Tasmania. I grew up about 6 hours from anywhere that looked like a town. I used to race motorbikes, and I really thought that I wanted to go pro with that before I started getting into music. And my family were always very active, and they did a lot of fishing and a lot of diving. So I did a lot of diving, abalone and crayfish diving as a kid. And
So you were raised on the coast, or
yeah,
okay.
absolutely. So we'd, take bike trips and four-wheel drive trips always around the coast. And, being that far out of a city, it was fantastic. You kind of like the world was your oyster. You could just go and explore and do whatever you wanted. And so that was fantastic. And then I had a couple of friends get hurt in the racing. I was doing quite a bit of racing with the bikes and stuff. And I wanted to do the flips and the stunts and all of the, the really hardcore stuff.
Right.
That was like my dream. And then I had a couple of friends get really hurt. I got in an accident, and I have a big scar on my head from one of the accidents that I have. And so it was kind of at that point, went, maybe this whole music thing doesn't sound like such a bad idea, maybe because I'd started toying around with writing songs at that point, and I picked up my dad's guitar, and he showed me the first couple of chords, and he's like, I want you to just learn the rest yourself, because I don't want you to learn my habits and my ways, learn your own style.
Was he a musician or just musical?
He's just very musical.
Okay.
My whole family are very musical, actually, in that sense, but no one really decided to go very professional with it. But it was like, it was a no-brainer for me in the end. So I ended up moving to the UK. My whole family moved with me 7 years ago now, and I started busking on the streets, and I had no fan base. So I just worked my way up slowly but surely from the streets to venues to festivals to here.
Okay, I was trying to read the inflection in your voice. Was it, and my whole family moved with me, or was it, and my whole family moved with me? So I wasn't quite sure how to take that, because you left it smack in the middle.
Did
there.
I really?
Or maybe intentionally.
No,
you
no,
left
no,
it
no.
that
It
way.
was amazing, and I'm
Okay, all right.
extremely grateful
Okay,
for.
good.
They're the most supportive people I
Okay,
could
all
ever
right.
imagine to have as my family.
Okay.
No, they're fantastic.
And did they keep their place in Tasmania?
No, actually, we ended up selling that.
Okay.
And they live in the UK now. They're still there. My family actually now put up wind turbines and do all of the installations for that, which is pretty insane. It's pretty full on. Like, it's like giant mechanical. Like, it's crazy. The parts are huge and it's insane.
So they're air farmers.
Yes.
Right?
Fantastic.
you
That's exactly
grew
what
up in
happened.
the country, and now your
And they're
parents
really
are
good air,
farmers.
and
yeah.
now they're. That's so. I never looked at it like that.
You're exactly just like
That's-
everybody else, just a different type of farming.
That's so true. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. There, farming the air.
Yeah, wind
Yeah.
farming is how it's
Wind
referred
farming.
to in
That
the
is
United
that is the
States.
term. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
And it replaced-
So that's kind of, and then COVID kind of slowed things down, obviously, as it did. And I really started, focusing in on my songwriting. And of course, everyone was writing online at that point.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be here at that. I really wanted to come to Nashville first, but
Had you been
visa-
here?
Yeah, I had. I'd been back and forth a few times, but
okay.
getting a full-time visa was always a bit of a tricky situation. You don't make it easy. But ended up after COVID and that, I started writing with a bunch of people online, Jeff Cohen and this one and that one and so many wonderful people. And the doors just kind of started opening for me here. And one thing to another, I got my visa and here I am. I know.
Yes, you are.
Well, you've got a couple of really cool gigs we're going to talk about. But the last time you were in, you were getting ready to play Bluebird on the Mountain, which I think
my
is
gosh.
just one of the coolest events.
Sells out so
Yeah.
fast.
So what was that like? Because
And
you hadn't
explain,
played it
first
yet
of all-
when you did. It's a Dyer Observatory.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Explain what that
Stunning.
is.
I mean, it was a Dyer Observatory, which is beautiful. Like you can, I was up in the top just stargazing for ages before and like after, but it's so beautiful out there. You're up on the hill. The views are stunning. It fills out. I don't know how many hundred. There was a few hundred that came in for that, and we, out under the stars. You can hear the crickets, which is usually not what you want to hear at a show. By the way, if you're hearing crickets, like it's normally a bad thing, but in this situation, it was really peaceful and beautiful, and it was really sweet. Great audience, and of course, Erica and everybody at the Bluebird has been so incredibly welcoming to me and have had me back so many times. I just hosted my own round at the Bluebird there last week before. So it's been really fantastic. But yes, an absolute honor to play Bluebird on the Mountain.
And the next stop is Saturday. You're going to be at the Listening Room.
Back at the Listening Room, yeah. I'm actually playing that with Jeff Cohen and James House, my two songwriting friends. Yeah.
And then on the 13th, just a
Yeah.
few days later, you'll be at Bridgestone Arena, the fantastic finale with the Nashville Predators.
I'm so excited.
And for people who don't know what that is, explain when you get to play.
So I'll be playing the halftime and then the final quarter of the game. So it'll be the game. I think the puck drops at 7:00, and then I'll be 7:45 and 7:30. I think.
Well, there's three periods, so there actually is no halftime per se in
Technically
hockey.
not. I know,
So
that's
you're after the
confusing.
first period and then after the second period. Yeah, there you go. But you play
That's it.
twice.
Play twice.
And it's a great stage.
It's a great
so,
stage.
yes.
Hey.
It's a great room. It's a little cold, so bring your blankets.
And it's like a $20 million Jumbotron scoreboard up there
Right.
that you'll be.
that they'll put my face on.
Yeah, so it's
I'll
pretty
better
cool.
I'll make sure they have a really nice picture.
It's pretty cool.
Post it up
Anybody
there.
can play between periods, Charlie.
That's true.
Zoe
We'll play
plays
during the period.
halftime
That's right.
of the hockey game.
Hey,
okay?
the first hockey
Very
game I
unique.
ever went to, at the end of the second period, my husband and I grabbed our stuff and we were leaving, and they're like, "No, there's still one more." We were like, "Oh, okay." So I don't
that myself when I
I
first
didn't know.
went. I didn't
Yeah,
know either.
it was a long time ago.
I was never like a big hockey person
Right.
until I came here and then
Right.
realized that it's a thing. And
Yeah.
now, obviously, Predators are my guys. So.
That's right.
More coffee, country, and Cody is on WSM.
And we continue with our friend Zoe in studio. She's picked up a guitar, Kelly Sutton, Charlie Mattos, and
Scary.
we heard from Jockey just before the break, her new single, which drops tomorrow. And originally from Tasmania, makes her home in Nashville. How long now?
2 years almost. 2 years in May, officially. I've
So,
been visiting for a long time. But
Do you have to do the visa every 3 years, or when?
every 3 years.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, the first one I did was 12 months, and that was a joy. Now I'm on the 3-year one, and then hopefully after this one, it's green card.
Oh,
Fingers
good.
crossed,
Okay.
hopefully. Yeah,
Okay.
that's- Otherwise, it'll be another 3 year then green card.
So on your first ever visit, did you go to the Opry?
Of course.
Did you?
Of course. I actually just last time Jackson Brown was in town, I came and saw him here. It was amazing.
Oh,
show.
how about that?
Oh my gosh, just standing ovation, pretty much. Like the last half of the set was all of his hits, and it was just standing ovation. Incredible. So glad I got to see him. But as a kid growing up in Tasmania too, it was always really a big thing when an artist came, because it's such a long way away, and very rare that you'd get a big artist like someone like that come to Tassie. So whenever I'm still such a child about it, whenever I get to see someone like that, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, But being here, of course, it happens, every night someone fantastic is playing. So I'm just like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, I gotta see them. It's fantastic.
So how much of a leap of faith to actually make the move, or was it easy? Because it's not like you're in Chattanooga, and if you decide
Right.
to go home, you're home in an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's a commitment, and maybe that's a
is.
good thing all at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like if you believe in something enough, you got to make the full jump, don't you?
Yeah.
And music it's a no-brainer for me. It's always kind of been there. I just kind of had to realize that this is what it's going to be, and it's not going to be motorbike racing.
Yeah.
that's out. But I think you kind of have to follow your heart, and Nashville is where it is. I've dreamt of being here forever, so to finally be here is such a joy. So it was a big leap of faith for sure, and leaving family and grandparents and brothers and sisters and stuff, of course, behind has been extremely tough. But they all believe in the music and are so supportive, and I couldn't do it without that. You know what I mean? So you have to have, I think, that support around you to give you the guts to make the jump. I think, because it's a big jump. It is
The
a
more
big
you
jump.
speak, the more I can see Olivia Newton-John
Oh,
and hear her. You?
Yeah.
You hear that?
Absolutely.
After a little bit here, it's like,
that is.
if I close my eyes, and just thought I was in the middle of an interview somewhere listening back.
Thank you.
She was a big influence, wasn't she?
Big time. She was, in many senses for us in Australia, she was like our Diana, She was kind of the princess for us down there, She was everything. And when we lost her, it was very heartbreaking, and she was still so young too. But she was a big influence, and I thought what she did, making that jump and leaving and breaking in America, was such an inspiring thing for a woman to do, and that definitely has had a lot of influence on me being here and having the courage.
And I saw that Merle Haggard was a big influence on you too.
Big.
And I mentioned Charlie Pride.
Big.
Off
Charlie
the
Pride
because I knew he was
yes.
big in that part of the world, New Zealand,
Huge.
Australia, Tasmania.
Yeah, my parents always had music in the house, and so a bit more of the backstory, we lived very isolated, so we didn't have TV, we didn't have internet, we just had radio, and my parents had a huge record collection, like a 20-foot long shipping container record collection, and so all the music that they'd grown up listening to, or had collected over the course of their relationship, was in there. And so I'd go and rate it, I'd listen to it. They'd be playing stuff from it all the time, so Mel Haggard and Charlie Pride, Loretta Lynn, Dolly, everyone was in there. AC/DC was in there. Jimmy Barnes, the whole, it went from country to everything.
You had your own Tower Records, essentially.
Pretty much, essentially. And, I could borrow it kind of long term, never return them back from them forever. It was a fantastic way to grow up, and so much music, so influence-wise was very broad in that sense. But, yeah, that's definitely...
I'm curious, why so isolated? What did they do for a living?
Well, my folks, we were travelers for a long time. So we ended up building an RV and went traveling around Australia. My brothers and I were all homeschooled. And my parents, we worked on the road, picked up all sorts of odd jobs. So my first ever job, I was actually I was 4 years old, and it was with a carnival crew. I was doing tickets on the door for this carnival. So my older brother was security for me, so if anyone tried to heckle me out of a ticket for the $1 or whatever it cost, they was going to have to deal with him. And I'd be passing the tickets out to these, teenage kids and whatnot that were coming in. But my whole family worked, doing all sorts of odd jobs, from that to, moving houses, all sorts of crazy, amazing stuff that they've done. My dad is a complete jack of all trades. He's just one of those guys who can lend his hand and throw his hand at anything. And I think all of us kids have kind of been raised in a very similar style. So.
A true entrepreneur, huh?
Well, minus the money side of it. I do work in the music business. Good. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm extremely grateful for a very broad upbringing. It was amazing. Yeah.
What are you going to play and sing this morning? And what kind of guitar are you playing for the gearheads who may be watching on our Circle platforms and Circle Now?
Guitar here. This is actually, I don't play this one too often. I play it when I'm songwriting a lot, but I wrote this song here just not too long ago. For anyone who deals with a bit of overthinking, like I tend to, this one is all about what goes on and just trying to silence those voices that just never seem to want to stop. Like, did I leave the kettle on? That kind of stuff. So
I saw a T-shirt once. It's one of my favorites. It says, "Does anal retentive have a hyphen?" That's all it said.
See, just like that.
Yeah,
just
it's the first thing that popped into my head when you described that.
Now I need to find one of those shirts.
Zoe on Coffee, Country, and Cody, and coming to the listening room on Saturday, and to the fantastic finale of the Nashville Predators, Bridgestone Arena, the April 13th game.
Tell our buddy James House to come see us sometime, too. It's been a while since he's been in studio.
I will make
with
sure to
us.
let him know. Yes, I'm excited to play with him and Jeff on the weekend. They're always such a hoot, such a fun round.
I saw where you had written with Steve Dorff. His name came up in conversation off the air the last couple of days here in the studio. He's in New York, the National Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Unbelievable.
What was that like, sitting down?
Fantastic. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about working with so many incredible people here in Nashville. I got to say, everyone's been extremely welcoming, and working with people like that, that are welcoming, and so it's you're learning constantly. I will say that about being here, is that you think, in your small town, kind of what's going down until you get here and you're surrounded by these incredible, talented people. It's so humbling and it's so educational. And for anybody out there that's sort of dreaming about coming to Nashville and making music, I would say to do it and throw yourself in the deep end. I've been extremely welcomed, and I cannot thank everybody enough, including you guys, for everything that you have done, for having me and being here. And it's incredible. I'm so
Our pleasure.
grateful. So
Our
grateful.
pleasure. Yeah, when I'm with Steve Dorff, I'm like, man, I am so jealous of that Beethoven haircut.
Right?
That really
He looks
says
good.
it's a statement.
It is. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Zoe, thank you. Good luck on the new single, Jockey, which comes out tomorrow.
Thank you so
And
much.
where do you suggest people follow you on socials?
Oh, Zoe Music. ZOEE Music.
Okay, two E's.
Two
music.
E's.
All right,
That's it.
you heard it here.
Thanks,
Coffee,
guys.
Country, and Cody, WSM Radio, Circle streaming platforms, and the Circle Now app.
Coffee, Country, and Cody, highlighting the exhibit Eric Church, Country Heart, Restless Soul, on display at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum.
How much fun was this to put together?
Very fun. They gave us a lot of really awesome stuff, just incredibly cool things from all throughout his life and career. My favorite is always the childhood things, all the stuff that we never get to see anywhere.
Right.
So junior and senior yearbooks, old photos, he played basketball, he was voted most talented in his senior class, or just all like the fun things that you may not really know about until you get to like really look through and page through and see the photos, and it's great. It's so cool.
The most talented is
The
kind
most
of great.
talented is so funny.
Isn't that hilarious?
It's
Well,
absolutely like striking a pose like this is who I'm gonna be eventually. I don't know.
it
I
was
love
a glimpse. It was a
Yes,
glimpse
absolutely
into the
a glimpse.
future.
Boy, nothing gives you a sense of place and time like your high school annual. Were you a senior superlative?
Yeah, I was. Most spirit.
Okay.
Most school spirit.
How about you, Charlie?
I was a senior.
How many times?
Just once.
Just once, okay,
Yeah, no, just
okay.
once. I
Oh,
took the
okay.
4-year plan. It
How
was
about you,
good.
Aaron? Aaron Cooper seems like she was a senior superlative.
Oh, of course.
My senior superlative?
Yeah.
My school was lame and we didn't do any.
Oh, yeah, that was my excuse, too. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, lame school. Yeah, that's
Pam Isaacs and I were most friendly
Oh, that's
at Marion
nice.
County High School.
Oh.
Yes, we were.
Well, in the Northeast, no one gets that. that would be an insult if you got that. It's like
hadn't thought about that. But that's a look with Kelly Sutton walking the halls of the hall, y'all. The Hall of Fame, that is, in the new Eric Church, the Chiefs exhibit. And if you're here tomorrow morning on the Coffee, Country, and Cody get-together, we're going to put the spotlight on the Hall of Fame's Poets and Prophets series. Our longtime friend, Michael Gray, who does these interviews and coordinates this series, Poets and Prophets, has Jackie DeShannon as his special guest, and he's bringing her to see us. So very excited about that.
It would be really fun one of these days, just thinking out loud, and this is morbid, but, hang with me for a second. It would be really fun if we had a list of all of our favorite country stars and we did a body count of how many people they had murdered in their different songs.
Just tally them up.
Just see who has the most. Because Carrie's got Blown Away. She's got 2 black Cadillacs. She's got church bells. She doesn't kill anybody before he cheats. That's at least 3. I mean, you don't know that Twister could have gotten a couple other people on the way in, so that might be more. But yeah, we'll shelve that for another day. But that would be a very fun poster.
Oh, I just Googled murder country songs. So Goodbye Earl by the Chicks.
Yep.
Martha Devine, Ashley McBride.
Yep.
Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Reba. Cocaine Blues by Johnny Cash. Guilty as Can Be, Cody Johnson. Gunpowder and Lead, Miranda Lambert. Oh, it's a long list. We could make
Yeah,
a
that's what I'm saying.
Papa Love Mama by Garth.
These are great.
Yeah.
It's a great
Folsom
idea,
Prison
guys.
Blues shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Right.
You know, that'd be-
Independence Day, burned the whole house down.
That'd be a great T-shirt. It just had everybody on there that had a murder ballad, but made it look like mug shots.
Oh, I heard
and we were
one,
like,
yeah.
country music kills.
The other day I was traveling somewhere and I heard
Songs That Kill is the Billboard
Songs That
article I'm
Kill.
reading. Yes.
There you
there
go.
was a young boy named Billy Joe, grew restless on the farm. Don't take your guns to town, son. Leave your guns at home, Bill. Don't take your guns to town. And he does, and he gets killed.
Oh,
Johnny Cash.
well,
Yeah.
they told him not to. That'll get you. Learn one way.
Try to crick draw the wrong guy. That's what happened.
Wait in the truck.
Yep.
Wait in the truck. Yes. I mean, see what I'm saying? This is a great idea. All right, we're going to work up that. Now we're going to talk about
We're
CMA
gonna do
Music Fest.
an Opry-themed night.
Maybe Valentine's Day or something. Nice.
Murder ballads.
That'd be a great
It's
Halloween.
Murder Ballads night here at the Opry. Welcome. Hope you enjoy yourself.
Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, right around in that area. We just do one whole theme. Let's talk about CMA Music Fest. Nissan Stadium stages, going to have a lot of talent there, but some really big names and fun shows are also planned for Ascend Amphitheater. So if you want to go out and maybe you're like, hey, I don't want to do the whole big package, but I do want to see a couple shows, this might be your thing. Thursday, June 6th, celebrating 60 years of Curb Records. You're going to have not only Lee Bryce and Dylan Scott, Rodney Atkins, and Hannah Ellis, but you're getting Tim Duggar and Sawyer Brown, Kelsey Hart, Harper Grace, and Pitney Mayer. We're going to be there. Next night is Brett Young and Friends. He takes the stage on the 7th. Listen to this: Restless Road and Need to Breathe. I am such a Need to Breathe fan. I love it so much. Country pop and up-and-comer Shaylin is going to be there, as well as Charles Kelly, Gavin DeGraw, and Colby Calais. And then night 3, get ready, get your 90s country on. Tracy Lawrence and Friends. It's not only Tracy, but Riley Green, Chris Young, Maddie and Tay, Priscilla Block, Raylan, and Charles Eston. Tickets are $15. They go on sale starting tomorrow, 10 a.m. CMAfest.com/tickets.
Alibis, lying eyes. She's heard it all.
Oh.
I love that song.
Okay, Morgan Wallen has another single that's coming from One Thing at a Time. If you're keeping track at home, so far he's had #1 hits with You Proof, Last Night, Thought You Should Know, Everything I Love, Thinking About Me, Man Made a Bar. 6. So this next one that's coming out.
For those of you watching, I like the way Kelly
6.
holds up her fingers to make
6.
sure you know what 6 is.
6 is the number. So the new one that's coming out is the Ernest Assisted Cowgirls. And if you have some bass in your car, crank it up. I know this is going to be just pumping out of every speaker downtown.
It'll be all woofer and no tweeter.
That's right. Is there a song called All Woofer, No Tweeter?
It's just a phrase I heard somewhere along the way.
Because if there's not, there needs
should
to be.
Yeah.
I'm having flashbacks to living on 2nd Avenue.
I thought about that.
When the subwoofers from the cars would shake the glass on a coffee table.
You're
That's
kidding.
how strong it was. Oh, it rattled the windows for sure, but it would actually move a glass.
Well,
Yeah.
this is going to be one of those. This one's going to be one of those. It comes out on April 15th. It's very fun, and people are going to dance to it. You know, Justin Moore.
Well, do the little dance thing you were doing in the studio there in New York, where you're doing the lasso deal. There you go.
Going to lasso it up. Yeah. Congrats to Justin Moore. Not only is he platinum for his song You, Me, and Whiskey that he did with Priscilla Block, but now double platinum for If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away. Congratulations, friend.
One quick note we mentioned earlier, Craig Campbell and Grindstone Cowboy, multiple locations. You said?
I said
He's a
chain.
Thank you. Eagleville, first location, and I just pulled it up. Shelbyville, 100 Spring Street.
Now say it like they say it.
Shovel. With a 100 Spring Street location set for the fall of 2025. It's in an article that I found
All
online.
right,
Okay.
so the people of Shelbyville got to wait about a year and a half for caffeine.
Well, you can go to
All right.
Eagleville. It's not that
that's
far.
true, too. That's true.
Unless you're
All
like
right.
your father. I like to go to places around near where I live.
That's a ways for me. Just make my taster's choice.
Only a few miles. Instant coffee.
Instant. Sanka. Sanka.
What was it David Letterman said, Charlie?
Oh, decaffeinated coffee. It's what they're drinking in hell.
Coffee, Country, and Cody on WSM.
Matt Axton, you're not in Kansas anymore. You're not in Austin or Fort Worth or New Braunfels or Mont Belvieu, San Antonio, New Orleans. You're in Nashville, Matt.
Yes.
And you're on tour. That's just the last week in his life that I ran down.
No rest for the wicked.
Well, pull up close, man, and welcome in. Great to see
Thank you
you.
guys for having me, of course. It's always great to see you guys.
Kimbrough's Pickin' Parlor is in your future. That is that's tonight in Franklin, and then 3rd and Lindsley. That's tomorrow here in Nashville.
That'll be the first time for us to do anything, even close to Broadway proper. So that'll be fun.
Adjacent. We'll
Adjacent,
just say
yes.
adjacent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
You'll get some stumble overs, but you don't have to. Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Oh, that's a great backup band name.
Stumble
isn't it?
overs.
Stumble overs.
Matt Axton and the Stumble Overs.
Oh, I do like that. It's got a good ring to it.
Bluegrass band,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty easy to put together here in town, really. I love it.
We got new music we're going to share, and a quote that I read that involved 2 artists they compared you to, but I'll share that in a moment. I'll tease that ahead.
Oh.
But your backstory, for people who don't know, they immediately would recognize the last name. It is one of the most famous in all of not only singing, but more so in songwriting with your grandmother and your famous father.
Yes.
Catch people up.
So we'll go way back to the beginning of time, 1956, as far as the Axton legacy is concerned, where my grandmother, her name was Mayborn Axton, was a part-time school teacher and songwriter, and she happened to pen Elvis Presley's first hit called Heartbreak Hotel. Right, and after that, she had a little momentum and moved to Nashville.
Yeah, because I hear that gives you momentum.
Yes, that does.
When
Yes,
Elvis
right,
cuts your
#1 hits.
song and
It definitely
sells
helps.
millions.
And it's been really fun. I've been digging more into sort of her history and the connection with, obviously the Elvis one is very well known, but sort of her connection with the head of RCA at that time. And she was more the person that spearheaded Elvis, like getting into that first initial contract, you know, that huge one to get Heartbreak Hotel even sort of listened to. So it's been really fun to dig even deeper, especially on the road. Somebody always comes up and tells me a Hoyt or a May story, and that's motivation to the extreme, I guess, in a lot of ways. But either way, it started with Mayborn Axton writing the #1 hit for Elvis. Then she came to this lovely town here, Nashville, when it was just a wee little music city.
Yeah.
And sort of was a gatekeeper for a lot of the people in the industry. And then my dad saw how much fun that was, not being a gatekeeper, but being a songwriter. And made his way to Los Angeles and wrote a #1 hit called Joy to the World. And to this day, they're still the only parent and child to independently write #1 hits in the history of mankind. So I'm very proud of that.
That's awesome.
As
Yeah.
you should be.
Now, don't fact check that, internet people. Don't fact check.
And
It's fine.
both wonderful personalities. I know the story of Blake Shelton meeting your dad, who was on the tour bus, parked in your grandmother's driveway for a time, and that's where Old Red came from.
Exactly.
He said, "Let me play you this song. Let me play you a song." So he tapped it out. I think just did the rhythm on the tabletop in the bus, and sang him Old Red, and that was the first time Blake heard it.
Yeah. And I was a little kid. I have vivid memories of that moment because my dad would always pull into Nashville and use my grandma's house in Hendersonville as like the compound, right?
And Blake was there because he was painting her house.
Exactly. My
Is that
grandma
right?
would always let like up and coming musicians stay in the house but do a lot of yard work. So he was out there painting the garage, and my dad was on the bus like, "Hey kid, get on the bus." And Blake came on and they shared, some stories, and Blake was saying how he wanted to be a big musician someday. And my dad threw him this song. He's like, "Well, check this song out. It'd be a good, starter for you." And that was Old Red and became Blake's first big hit, sort of put him on the map. So like I said, I was a little kid. I was the fly on the wall in that particular adventure, which was pretty magical.
Now our company has a franchise by that name.
Yeah.
And a growing number of locations, including Las Vegas,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yep.
we're going to celebrate here in pretty short order.
When did you write your first song? How old were you?
Well,
That you can remember. Because
can
I'm sure
remember.
when you were little, you were probably singing and doing stuff, right?
yeah, I remember writing at a very young child age, like five, started tapping out a song, and then it got lost to the wind. But then it wasn't until sort of late high school and early college that I sort of took it seriously. I
Okay.
started writing. I was supposed to go play football and be somebody, and I ended up hurting my knee, doing other things, not football related, but that's when I picked up a guitar seriously. So I was laid up for basically 6 weeks. So I picked it up and started writing. I was like, oh, this is pretty fun and easy and sort of natural. Let's see what happens. And now we are here.
There it is.
Yep. Only a decade later,
That's right.
Matt Axton is our special guest. So, Bad Moon. What did I see? They compare you. It says the Allman Brothers meet Chris Stapleton.
Oh.
All right, I'll take that.
Huh?
Yeah, I'll take that any day.
So, give us a backstory on this new single.
Whose palm did I grease for that? So basically, I've had this song, Bad Moon, sort of, clanking around my musical library for a little bit. And when I moved to L.A. and after everything started opening up,
Oh, you got to tell the story about moving to L.A.
Yes.
and how long you were there before COVID set in.
So after grinding up in Tahoe, Northern California for like a better part of a decade, I made the big move to Los Angeles. Right, I got everything ready, loaded up the car, pulled into town, played one gig, and then the whole world shut down. Literally the next day.
Wow.
So if there was ever a time to reflect on every life
Where did you
decision,
play? I'm just curious. What was the venue?
It was just sort of this writers' round over in Highland Park called Highland Park Bowl.
Oh,
And it was a
okay.
very well-known writers' round, so I was like, all right, put my flag in the ground. I made it, everybody. And literally the next day, the whole world shut down. So I had a lot of time to think about every decision in my life to that point. But we came out the other side, and I met some great musicians that want to go out and tour and grind and push the original art, and that's what we're doing here right now. That's what Bad Moon came from. So once I got these musicians together, I was like, let's go with sort of the country roots stuff. So I pulled out some of my old songs, and we sort of reworked this one, adding the double guitar harmonies like the Allman Brothers, right? That's where we pulled that from.
Yeah.
And, sort of making the actual production a little more natural and darker, going back to the old days of, just nothing's perfect, but there's a lot of character,
We've gotten to know Matt over the last few years and always enjoy his visits. And boy, your tour, it just rocks. Looks like every other day you're someplace, and it wraps up in Phoenix in late April. But good to have you in Nashville. And then you got a one-off out of town, and then you're coming back to play the 5 spot here in a few days.
Yeah, we're doing double duty tomorrow. We're doing 3rd and Lindsley, then running down to Muscle Shoals for a gig, and then coming back. So
Okay. All right.
Then 5 spot on Saturday as well.
What I featured there was Evangelina, and I asked you off the air. I said, have you heard Coulter Wall's new version of it? Because you were talking about how many people come up to you and say, hey, musicians, and say, I put that in my set.
Yes. So, Evangelina was not the biggest commercial success at all for my dad, but it was sort of, like I said, seems to be a theme with a lot of the songwriters that I run into on the road. They're like, I always have that in my set. It's just a very well-crafted tune, right? And it is. It's a beautiful Spanish love song, written by an Okie, which always makes me
and still holds up 50
still
plus
holds
years
up.
later.
Yeah, and that's one of the most amazing things I was saying, like off the air, is that's sort of the magic of music in general, or art, that you can connect with somebody decades, 50 years after a song came out. A modern artist can, feel inspired to put their time and energy into recording it and connecting it with a new audience. And my dad lives on, because of that, and stays alive because of that.
Well, James Burton be fine with that chicken picking you were doing over there. He'd be real happy with it this morning. He's going into the Country Music Hall of Fame in this year's class.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
Toby Keith, John Anderson. But Matt Axton with us this morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody. And Kimbro's, let me get these dates so that people maybe just joining us. He's at Kimbro's Pick and Parlor. Mm-hmm. That is the 9 o'clock show tonight. Mm-hmm. And 3rd and Lindsley tomorrow, noontime, you'll be there. Yep. You mentioned you're off to Muscle Shoals, to Champies in Muscle Shoals. And then back at the 5 spot on the 6th. And then you're off to, Kelly Sutton, get your poor mom and daddy some tickets to see Matt Axton. Would you please? They don't have to pay for them out of their pocket. They're going to be in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Oh, that's right at the road.
Yep.
Yeah. So they'll be right there. Jeffersonville. Mom's like probably 15 minutes from there right now at
exactly.
work. Yeah.
I thought about that when
Where
I
are you going to be
saw that.
playing in Jeffersonville?
It's called The Wrong Side. I think it's sort of a new sort of like country rocking bar that they have. I've never been to Louisville. We have a bunch of new markets on this tour, which is crazy. Don't do that, other people, but it's still a lot of fun.
That was my first year in radio, 1971, 12-year-old kid. And we played the grooves off Three Dog Night's version. Corey Wells, because they had a cold intro.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I never been to... And that's the way it would start. And it just took us all, man.
All right.
We didn't know what it all meant. But we loved to play it.
Yeah,
It was terrific.
we don't either. Yeah.
That's good.
Did Hoyt sit around as a kid, your childhood? Was he one to sit around at home when he was home and play and sing or not?
Yeah, I mean, music was just part of everything. It was...
Because your mother is classically trained, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So for me, in particular, it was from every angle and every side. So when we went on tour, it was the whole family. My mom, like I said, was my dad's piano player and music manager, so she helped run the band and stuff. So it was really a family affair. And it was a much different time where I remember the bus would pull up to a new city and they'd just be like, all right, come back before it's dark. I'm like, all right, and just run around, like run between tour buses and, get in all sorts of fun trouble. But we survived, and now the road feels strangely like home a lot to me.
Yeah.
So it's always good to run into nice people and have good adventures out there on the road. So.
3rd generation of the Axtons.
Mm-hmm.
Matt is in Nashville for a couple of shows before he goes to Muscle Shoals and then comes back to the 5 spot over the weekend. But Kimbro's, that's tonight, and then noontime 3rd and Lindsley tomorrow. That's Matt Axton. And this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Coffee, Country, and Cody, highlighting the exhibit American Currents, State of the Music, on display at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum.
In addition to, trying to have a really broad look at what it means to be a country artist,
right,
we also take a look at artists who pay homage and really take influence from people who came before them. There's a whole case titled Unbroken Circle that looks at different pairings. So you have Megan Maroney, who cites Casey Musgraves as a huge influence on her, and it's really cool to see their stuff paired up together. Haley Witters and Martina McBride too, same thing. It's just so cool to see that together, and then to hear those artists talk about each other with such reverence and such. They're so special to the artists they influence, and it's cool to get to kind of show that in artifacts.
That bridges the gap too. It's the generational gap between a Martina and a Haley, realizing Haley knows full well she wouldn't be doing what she was doing if there was no Martina McBride.
Right, and it sort of just brings into this exhibit the point that, this is a history that keeps going and keeps building off of what was there before it, and it's not just what's in those cases up there and what's in those cases down here. It all ties together in a way.
American Currents, the exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, tomorrow we'll spotlight the Hall of Fame's Poets and Prophets series when we have Michael Gray and legendary singer-songwriter Jackie DeShannon, because what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's just the one thing there's not enough of, and Jackie DeShannon is bringing it tomorrow.
Oh.
And I saw where Martina yesterday, I think it was, you know how you can tell when somebody's got the window seat and they're taking a selfie?
Yeah.
Because you can tell the curve of the plane. And she said, on the way to Denver. That's all it said. It was just a headshot.
Oh, wow. I wonder if that song made more money as a song or as a Coca-Cola commercial.
Yes.
Because that's where a whole generation of
Yeah.
of people first knew that song, right?
What a
Yeah.
melody.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't think about that. But
Oh,
you're right.
that's the first thing I thought of.
It's probably
That
the
was-
first time I ever heard
Me
it.
too. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
remember the rooftop singers and like to teach the world to sing. in
Oh, Perfect Harmony, yeah.
And that became a Coca-Cola commercial
Oh, sure.
back in
Yeah.
the early days as well. So.
Man, they had a lot of money. Still do. Apparently, Coca-Cola. Okay. Well, let's talk about CMT Awards are happening this weekend. Still some time to vote. If you guys want to get some last-minute votes in, your vote counts for Video of the Year. It is vote.cmt.com. That's where you can find all the information. We have now just found out, breaking news, Jason Aldean and up-and-comer Dasha, who was here with us in the studio 48 hours ago, will be performing at the CMT Awards. How cool is that? She told us right when we went off the air because we couldn't break it, but we are very excited for her. Great lineup of people performing: Keith Urban, Lainey Wilson, Sam Hunt, Jelly Roll, Bailey. I mean, the list goes on and on. Sugarland will be performing with Little Big Town. That's the collab that we have been waiting for. That's going to be very, very special. Again, if you want to watch this coming Sunday, April 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern, CBS and Paramount Plus is where you can find all of the CMT Awards goodness. So that's going to be happening. All right, Lainey Wilson. She showed up at the Opry and a Black Crowes show broke out. Kind of. Actually, Black Crowes were doing their show at the Opry House, and they decided to invite Lainey to come hang out with them because she is featured on one of their songs on their album. I didn't know this. I had missed that memo. They brought her out. They did that together, Wilted Rose, which is the song that's on the album. But she also got to sing probably their biggest hit with them. Like, looking at Chris, I'm like, oh, yeah. She just fits right in. Like, she didn't even have to change clothes.
She would fit with Aerosmith very well,
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So congrats to Lainey for getting to hang out on her favorite stage with one of her favorite bands. That was really special.
And they were my pick of the week last week.
That's
that
right.
lead single off that new Happiness Bastards album, which is called Waiting and Wanting and Waiting. That was
And
my
it's
pick of the
because
week.
you like the song, not just the title of the album.
Yeah, because I didn't realize what the title of the album was till after I'd picked the single. It wouldn't have mattered.
And you
but-
were like, well, okay. One more thing. Jelly Roll. We love him, y'all. He is so funny and so very candid about all the things that he's gone through in his life. Now that he says he's got some money, first thing he did, get his teeth fixed. He went, he said, I had veneers. I've had them for 20 years, and I needed to get something done. So he went and had some major dental work. It was pretty noticeable when you see the difference between his smile before and his smile now. So new veneers, had to get some cavities filled, had some implants done, and he had his wisdom teeth pulled all within like 3 weeks.
Those babies are white.
They are very, very
You could
clean
do
and white.
Jeff Robertson, Master Control at the Opry House, could do a white balance on those teeth.
They look great, don't they?
I tell you.
They look great. So Jelly has a brand new smile. He's grinning from ear to ear. If you want to see him under anesthesia, it's not safe for work or radio, but you can log on and either follow Bunny XO, which is his wife, or Jelly because she posted the videos.
Charlie Crockett. I'm a $10 cowboy. Once you hear that new single, it'll be the earworm. It's such a fun sing-along. That's on tomorrow's show. Some of the highlights include Alabama tickets as well, Bridgestone in July.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Sam Hunt tells us why he's really nervous about performing at this weekend's CMT Awards. Kind of funny that he's nervous.
Opry Country Classics, 7 o'clock tonight. Big Red Curtain, Grand Ole Opry House in Nashville. Larry, Steve, and Rudy, the Gatlin brothers. Your spotlight artists are Gene Watson, Jim Lauderdale, Sister Sadie, Craig Campbell. See you.